You are about to embark on the most monumental journey of all archaeological discoveries in this new live series by The God Culture. A 3,000-year gold rush documented so many ways it will make your head spin. The mother lode that would cause the likes of Indiana Jones to salivate. The true land of gold in all of history, which leads to the location of the Garden of Eden and the land of creation. Identifying the rivers from Eden en route. Why is this important? You will never understand geography, history, nor especially Bible prophecy without this restored knowledge of what many will consider the most illustrious realm on earth. Today, we call this the Philippines. Though founded in the Bible, which is the origin of this saga of renown, examine the history, archaeology, geography, science, linguistics, etc., which all converge to reveal what the world knew and somehow misplaced about a century ago. This is a mystery no longer, and now you will know the whereabouts of the lost Isles of Gold. Mabuhay, Philippines! Mabuhay! Yes, welcome to our studio in Davao City, Philippines. Thank you all for coming, and this has been so much fun. We're really enjoying the series. We've been wanting to do something like this for so long, and what a blessing this is. Thank you guys for all of this. It's time for us, though, to take this a little deeper. Did you know that in our research, we've been finding just map after map after map after map that shows the Garden of Eden in the Philippines? Wow. Nowhere else. It can't be anywhere else because it's southeast of China, it's east of Indochina, and it's northeast of Borneo. And we all know that archipelago is called the Philippines today. It always has been. It always will be. It didn't change in the first century, right? It's always been there. Now, we've seen scholarship on this that is absolutely nuts sometimes, where they'll look at an island positioned where Luzon Island is, southeast of China, and they'll say, oh, I think that's the Malay Peninsula. Duh. Okay, you go think that, Mr. Scholar. You write a book about it. That's okay. You can do that. That's your opinion. It's a dumb one, but you can keep that. We're going to go with the facts. And we have map after map here. It's too clear. Now, these maps are published in our book, The Garden of Eden Revealed, the Book of Maps. And it is powerful. It's full color, high resolution. These maps are incredible. These are credible, historic, well-supported, well-defined maps. This was the ancient thinking, and it really didn't change until about 100 years ago. They still knew up until then, and then, oops, they forgot. Now, their forgetting is not scholarly, and it's not academic, and it's not a position. So this is what we're finding. Now, we also have Solomon's Treasure in English and Tagalog. That one is free in ebook. You can go and download it for free. You can also get all of these books on Amazon worldwide and Shopee Philippines. Just go to ophirinstitute.com for all of those links. They're all there. And then download our source book for the project. It's 300 pages long. This is no joke. We have proven now in the last 8 years, really probably 10 or so of research, that the Philippines is the ancient land of gold, Ophir, in the Bible. We have proven that it is the Garden of Eden, and that's just fact. Now, also check out our series, Solomon's Gold series in English and Tagalog, and that too will blow you away. That's got all the data. It's all there, and this is a viral series with millions of views, so check it out either way. But let's go to the oldest maps of the world. Yeah, and you know what? They don't teach either of these two maps in any school that we've seen. They don't teach either of these two maps in any seminary that we found either. We can't find anybody teaching them. In fact, until we map out these directions, which are written directions, which is what ancient maps are, I think we're the first to do it. I've never seen anybody do it, and I can't believe that. It's just shocking to me. But let's go to first, actually the oldest book in history, called the Book of First Enoch. Again, whether you see this as Bible canon or not really doesn't matter. It's impertinent. The question is can we find geographical fact here? Can we map this and find, well, the Garden of Eden, because Enoch says he went there, and he gives us directions. Did you know that the book of Enoch is quoted in the book of Jude 5 times? 5 times. This time, it's actually quoted, here it is, Jude 1, 14 and 15. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam. Now, that's the good Enoch. There's an evil Enoch, right, from Cain. That's the evil Enoch. The first city was named for him. Cain was the first one to build cities, by the way. Not Adam. Adam didn't build cities. That was not the paradigm of the righteous. So in Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied, so this is the Holy One, of these, saying, Behold, Yahuwah cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. What did I just read? I read the book of Enoch, because Jude is quoting it almost word for word. 1 Enoch 1:9. It's right there. Okay, so if Jude used this book, why don't we? Right? We can at least glean some good history and archaeology or geography out of this. Geography. And here we go. He actually mapped his journey. He said, and beyond these mountains, I saw another mountain to the east of the ends of the earth, whereon to the northeast I beheld 7 mountains full of, and then he gives all of those. And then he says, and thence I went over the summits of these mountains far towards the east of the earth, and passed above the Erythraean Sea, that's the Indian Ocean, and went far from it. Okay, so he was in the Indian Ocean this whole time. He exits the Indian Ocean, and then he goes where? He says he passes over the angel Zotiel, and I came to the garden of righteousness. Wow. The Garden of Eden, right there. So he just gave us directions, and we can map these. So here on this map, he was really in the North Pole, we believe. Some believe it was Israel. Okay, fine. Start there. It's still to the north. And he goes to a desert, which he calls the Desert of Arabia. Now, we know where that is, so we already know that starting point there. There's no question. Then he heads east to another desert. And when he heads east to the other desert, that would have to be the Great Indian Desert, because it's the only one there. There's no other desert to consider. Then he heads further east. Notice he's heading further east. Okay, so he didn't head to Africa. So Africa's out. It can't be the Garden of Eden. It's done. It's not Saudi Arabia, because he was there first and left and went east of Saudi Arabia. See, the Bible paradigm includes the Far East, always did. Now, then we have, he says he heads further east to the land of cinnamon. And that land is Sri Lanka. Even in Latin, the word true cinnamon in Latin to English is actually found in Sri Lanka to Myanmar. And that little portion of the earth is the origin of cinnamon. And that's what Enoch's talking about. He then goes to the Spice Isles. Now, the Spice Isles are really easy, because he then says he exits the Indian Ocean there. Well, we know where we are. We're in Malaysia, Indonesia, right? Basically, the Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, is the exit of the Indian Ocean. Now, from there, from the Malay tip, he goes northeast to the Garden of Eden. What's northeast of Malaysia? The Philippines. It is the only thing there. That's it. This is from 4000 BC. And the Philippines is on this mapping to the Garden of Eden as this land. Boom. Wow. Now, that's the oldest map of the world in all of history. And again, it's not even known in academia. Bible scholars don't even know there's a map in the book of Enoch. They don't even know it. And it's been there all along. Now, Then we go to another book called the Book of Jubilees. We covered this a little in another video, so I'm not going to go through all of that again. But it was called Torah, basically. It was defined as Torah, used as Torah by the temple priests who were in Qumran. Now, it gives an elaborate description of the earth. I mean, this is the best mapping of the world, and it's dated about 2500 BC when Noah wrote it, and it was published in the Book of Jubilees about 1700 BC by Moses. But here's what's amazing. In Shem's territory, he says that you head east to the Garden of Eden beyond India. Okay, so it's east of India. Now, that shouldn't be a surprise because Noah would know his grandfather Enoch's writing and mapping, right? And his matches. So then he goes and he gets specific. He says that the garden is there on the eastern border of Shem, just north of that border. Where is it? Okay, so then he's mapping Ham's territory in the other direction. And Ham, he's in Africa, and he heads west across the Americas, South America, across the Pacific, and all the way to the right of the Garden of Eden. Now, we know the Garden of Eden has got to be in Shem's territory, right, on his border. So that means Ham comes and borders it. So just east of that. And then he heads south a little piece, and then he heads to the west. But he defines this border as all the mountains of fire. Now, that could be volcanoes, right? But wait. In that part of the world, Indonesia calls its 147 volcanoes that are a perfect natural border, it calls them Gunung-Gunung Api, mountains of fire. They're still named. They were named by Noah in 2500 BC, and they still bear that name in their language to this day. That is the border. So just north of that is the Garden of Eden. Where is that? It's within the earth. In the Sulu Sea. It's in the Sulu Sea. Within the earth, not in the sea itself, under it. And that is where it's located in the Philippines. Now, that is scientific method in every way, and Noah and Enoch both preserved this. Now, this thinking was carried on, and it led to an entire perspective in mapping the earth in ancient times. It's called the TO map. You can see the T is the rivers, the Tina or Tana River in Russia. That's the Don and Volga River. The Nile River in Africa, and the Mediterranean there. Sea is there too. So you see the three continents. Again, we know there are 7 continents, right? But in the ancient perspective, there were only 3, and this is how they viewed the earth. And at the top of this, in the middle of Asia, on the Tropic of Cancer, or near it, is Paradisus, the Garden of Eden in the Philippines. See, they have been drawing this. This is the perspective that comes from Enoch and Jubilees. This is where it's always come from. Now, when you apply this perspective to ancient maps, this becomes very, very clear. Because here you have, in 416 AD, Orosius actually mapped the world. And he has Christ River. Christ is gold in Greek, and it's the same word as Ophir in Hebrew. So he's saying that Ophir, really the land of the Garden of Eden, is there in the Far East in the area of the Philippines. In 650 AD, this becomes very well defined. In the Ravenna map, and you can see it on screen here, you can see Sirica, which is China. And then, what's that? Southeast of China? Well, what islands are southeast of China? The Philippines, right? Okay. So if that's that's the Philippines then, and it's marked. It starts with a P, but it's paradise. Oh, the Garden of Eden. There it is, right there on a map in 650 AD. And below that are Argyre, the land of silver, which is Tarshish in Hebrew, and Christ, which is Ophir, the land of gold in Hebrew. It's all been right there. So you can see Sumatra south of that. So you can see you're in the Philippines right there. You're southeast of China and you're northeast of Sumatra. You know that is the Philippines. All of it. It's never been a mystery. This has been on actual credible maps all along. That was, I believe, an Italian map. Here's a map, and this is one of the most amazing ones. This is 550 AD by Cosmas the Voyager. And Cosmas actually was a Greek monk. He was also a merchant and a traveler. He was a man of the sea. And he traveled to the Indies. Now, we know he traveled to the Indies because he ate what he called a pig deer. And he drew it. And you see in the bottom of the screen there, you can see his drawing of the pig deer with the tusks. And then there's an actual pig deer there in Indonesia. Here's the thing. This pig deer only exists on 5 islands on all of Earth, and they're all in Indonesia. So we know he made it to Indonesia. We know he made it to the Indies. So he's credible. And what does he map here? Look at this map. And this is the actual original mapping. This is his drawing, not someone else's rendering of it. This is his drawing. And you can see you pass the Red Sea. As you head further to the east, you pass the Persian Gulf. You're passing really the Malay tip. And when you look at his written directions, that's very clear. And he says he exits the Indian Ocean and he goes left. Well, if you take a left, you're going north, right? And then he says, and then there's the Garden of Eden right there on the right. Okay, if the Garden of Eden is on the right, then that means the Garden of Eden, right, is the Philippines. Because those are the islands to the right on the east in the South China Sea, because that's where he is. So there you are. Now, this map is so super credible that not only was it drawn by a Greek monk, but this map appeared in the Vatican's Codex Sinaiticus Gracia, Greek edition of the Codex Sinaiticus, as a map in the Bible. So this was a Bible map in the 1100s, and it appeared for several centuries. So this was known probably for a period of close to 1,000 years, this mapping of the Garden of Eden in the Philippines. They knew this. It was never a mystery, and it still is not, because we know that the Philippines is the land of ancient Havilah, the land of gold, number 1 in all of history, the land of pearl, number 1 in all of history, the land of the onyx stone, number 1 in all of history. Never a mystery, even scientifically, very well proven. In fact, when you look at pearl, you look at the largest pearl ever found, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, is the Puerto Princesa pearl, 34 kilos. Wow. Yeah. And that's found where? In the Palawan Sea in the Philippines. Wow. Number 2, the Palawan Sea. Number 3, the Palawan Sea. Number 4, the Palawan Sea. Wow. Are you getting that? Number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9. I can keep going and going and going. The Palawan Sea. That is where the large pearls are found, period. Yeah, let's go to Palawan. I agree with that. So the maps continue, and this is, I'm just going to breeze through some of these, but I'll tell you the perspective on this first one because you'll see this same perspective on and on. All right, so you see this is 2 pages in a book, right? And the page crease is the Tropic of Cancer, and you can see it's going through Asia there at the top, just like the TO map perspective, right? Where the paradise is in, Central Asia, right? Southeast Asia is where it will end up being. Notice they're drawing, look at that, that's Adam and Eve, right, with fig leaves, and there's the serpent, and there's the tree of life with, apples. Now we know the tree of life is not apple, right? Yeah. What's the fruit of the tree of life? Lanzones, you got it, that's right. Anybody who hasn't seen our video, Forbidden Fruit, go check it out. It'll change your perspective on that. There is no verse that says it was an apple. That's just nonsense. Okay, so that's Adam and Eve. That's the Garden of Eden, and it's just south of the Tropic of Cancer. The Tropic of Cancer, to give you the perspective of where you are on a map, the Tropic of Cancer goes through South China, and it goes through Taiwan. So what are the islands south of Taiwan? The Philippines, right? Always has been. So what is this map showing? It's showing the Philippines as the Garden of Eden, and right next to it it's one big rectangular island here, and it's labeled Chrysonar, which is Ophir and Tarshish in Hebrew, but the Greek for gold and silver. Right there on a map in 787. Wow. This was known, folks. Here's one in 800 AD, and it shows the same thing. There's the Garden of Eden, south of China, very clearly an island. It's the Philippines. Then you have Argyre and Christ next to it. and that is the ancient perspective, because this is the land of gold, the land of silver, and the Garden of Eden all in one. It's all in the Philippines. And then you have another one here in 970. Again, that same perspective. You see, they keep drawing, Adam and Eve covering themselves. That's cute. And this is what you just keep seeing. And then there's Christ and Argyre, the land of gold, land of silver. Here's a map in 975 AD. And there's the Garden of Eden, again, below the crease, south of China. And there's the islands just east of that, Christ and Argyre. It's very clear. Never been a mystery in history. In 1047, same exact thing. There's the Garden of Eden with Christ and Argyre very clearly drawn there. Even on this map here, now it shows it on land, but that part's wrong. These are islands, but that's okay. But here we actually have a rendering in Latin. It is Evolath. Well, that's Havilah. In ancient Havilah is the land of gold, pearl, and the onyx stone surrounded by the Pisan River. See, this has always been known. Here it is in a map. It's south of China. There's Mons Arius, which is Gold Mountain in Latin. Oh, what's that? That's in the Philippines. All of this stuff is so clear. The Pisan River is there as well. So all of these things were known. Now, one of the things that gets confused, Josephus said that the Ganges River in India is the Pisan River. Now, he was wrong. He didn't have a clue. He never went there, and his geography really didn't go that far. He didn't understand the Far East, which is the 1st century. That's not a surprise. But for Josephus to say that the Ganges was the Pisan, so here's what they did on maps. They drew the Ganges in Indochina, emptying into the South China Sea, going to the Philippines because they knew the Pisan River did. Now, the Ganges doesn't empty there. We know that. But that's why they moved the Ganges there, and you'll find that on many maps, and that's what drives the perspective. But the reality is, they're talking about the Pisan River, and it leads to the Philippines. These maps are indisputable. I mean, it's right there. It's on a map. Boom. It's right there. You can't miss it at all. Then you have 1086. Here's another in the same perspective. You see Argyre and Christ and Paradise, the Garden of Eden, in the Philippines. You find it here again. Here's a giant island that is labeled Paradise, the Garden of Eden. Next to it is the land or the Isle of Pearl. What's that? Palawan. That's Palawan. That's the Philippines, definitely. And it's labeled Thilis, which is the ancient name for Palawan, actually, because we see it on the 1492 behind globe we'll show you as well. So that's 1100. Now, that's a map sitting in a castle in Dover in England, right? So the English know this. It's on a map. They just can't seem to read it and understand it. And they'll talk about that map, by the way, in different documentaries, and they'll always ignore, that big giant island labeled Paradise. And I don't know what that is. Here's one, and some will say, but you don't, you're showing maps that don't show Ophir, right? Because they say Christ in Greek. Well, you read a New Testament, right? And your New Testament doesn't render things in Hebrew either. It renders them in Greek because the perspective changed in the 1st century, and you see the Greek all the time. This is the same. So here we have Argyre and Christ, drawn a little too far south. Then you have basically the Sunda Islands. Then you have this sun there. You see that sun in Southeast Asia in the South China Sea? Well, that's the Philippines, right? That's the location of the Philippines. And that sun is labeled Paradise, the Garden of Eden in the Philippines. This is 1120, but this map also shows Ophir, right there. Ophir, O-F-I-R, that's the Spanish way to spell it. It's the Latin way to spell it. Ophir is the Ophir of the Bible. The land of gold is on a map right there in the Philippines. This has never been in question. Here's another one in 1175, same perspective. There's the Garden of Eden, and there's Christ and Argyre in the Philippines. Here's one in 1220, the Garden of Eden and Christ in the Philippines. Here's one in 1235, the Garden of Eden, Christ and Argyre in the Philippines. This is map after map after map after map after map. How many times do we need to see this? Here's one from 1150. Here's the Garden of Eden and Thilis the Isle of Pearl, which is Palawan, and they're right there in the area of the Philippines. These things are so well documented throughout maps, and the perspective doesn't change until more modern times. And what they did is they took paradise, they took the Garden of Eden off the map. Why? Because it was found. And they don't want you to know it's in the Philippines. So, here's another map. In 1300, the Hereford Mappa Mundi, very famous map, very credible map. And the Garden of Eden is there, the big medallion there at the top. Again, just like the perspective, that's paradise, and that's the Philippines. And there's Thilis, the Isle of Pearl, next to it, which is Palawan. Here's another one, the Garden of Eden. It's in the Philippines. Yes, that looks the shape of India, but it's not the position, because India is on the map where India is supposed to be. And you go around the Malay Peninsula and come up to this area of the Philippines, which is where the garden is found. These things are not hard to read and very obvious. Here's one in 1440 AD, same thing. Paradiso Terrestro, the earthly paradise, the Garden of Eden, all the same, southeast of China in the Philippines. 1458, this still wasn't in question. There's the Garden of Eden in the area of the Philippines, also Zipangu, the land of Marco Polo. Yeah, that's the Philippines. It's not Japan. And we proved that. Watch those videos. It'll blow you away. I think we've mentioned that even in the series. Also, then, we have another map here in 1475. Here's Havilah on a map. In Latin, Evelath, that's Havilah. And it's in the area of the Philippines right next to the Garden of Eden. See, the Garden of Eden is attached to ancient Havilah. This is known in the Bible perspective all along. It was never attached to the Tigris and Euphrates. That is the Sumerian occult creation myth from the Nephilim. It is not Bible, and it is not credible. So, we cover the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and I'll just go through this just real quick. But Enoch saw other trees as he came close to the Garden of Eden. One of them is the pili tree. It has a nut like an almond, and it's hard, full of fruit. It's a pili tree. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So he's in where? The Philippines. He's describing Philippine trees. And then he describes the Garden of Righteousness, and he describes the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And he says it looks like a carob tree in the leaves, not the fruit, the leaves. But the fruit is like bunches of grapes that grow on a tree. What is that? It's lanzones. And we find legends of lanzones, even in the Philippines, so at least 3, 2 in Camiguin and 1 in Paete Laguna, that talk about how lanzones was once poison. It no longer is. Eat lots of lanzones. It's okay. I will. I love lanzones. So, but the reality is in these legends, lanzones, now the word lason is the origin of the word lanzoni. Lason is what in Tagalog? Poison, exactly. See, they don't look for this stuff in academia because they've lost the location of the Garden of Eden. But once you know it, you can test these things, and it proves on so many levels. So the forbidden fruit is lanzones, specifically from the Philippines. So, and they only really grow in Southeast Asia, so it really narrows it down. It's not in Africa. It's not in Saudi Arabia. It's not in India. You know, all of these markers lead in that direction. But these are maps, credible, ancient maps that have always shown the Philippines as the land of the Garden of Eden. Boom, done. Nothing to question. Nothing to question. This is the ancient perspective. And the best they can do is go through and say, oh, well, that map maker was, you know, whatever. Or this map maker, oh, I don't know about him. He married so-and-so. I mean, what is this, Mary Tess hour, right? Is it just, you know, attack on rumors and things? Because that's the most we ever get. They cannot disprove these maps. These are credible maps. Now, I'm going to show you a map in one of the next videos. It's going to blow you away. It's a map created by Columbus. Now, it either was him or his brother, they say, and then some try to say, oh, no, it wasn't him or his brother, it was his friend. Who cares? Whoever it was a Columbus map. It was his mindset, it was his research, and it's going to be very obvious when you see it. But remember, this research is from our book, Garden of Eden Revealed, the Book of Maps. That's where we actually prove this out. All the sources are there. Everything's there. You can see. You can find these maps for yourself. You can also go to Solomon's Treasure. Most of this case is there as well. It's free in ebook. It's also in Tagalog and supported by a 300-page source book. Go to ophirinstitute.com for those, and all the links are there, even to the free books. Watch Solomon's Gold series, where we spend more time on this, and we really prove these things out, and it'll answer any questions that you have. I don't think we have any questions out there that we haven't answered. If there is one, feel free to ask it, and we'll answer it. Thank you for joining us in the studio again today, Davao. And always remember, prove all things for yourself. Yah bless to everyone.
And now, it's your turn. Many have asked for a small group study that they can lead themselves in their homes and churches, announcing the Lost Isles of Gold Small Group Study Guide, a 13-week reference that allows you to lead a group of any size. Simply invite friends and family into your home, play this video series once a week, and you can avail of the study guide of each week's questions, free in ebook, or purchase one copy on Amazon or Shopee Philippines, and we release the copyright for you to even photocopy as long as it is made free to attendees. Or contact us for bulk copies in large quantities. Yes, you can even apply the study on Zoom and similar platforms, and even download and play where there is no internet. For pastors, you can execute this in your small groups with this video teaching, or if you wish to teach this information yourself from the pulpit or in a class, contact us for direction, bulk copies, and we will even provide our presentation slides to assist you in doing so as part of the package for any size church, including mega. You can also raise funds by selling our books. The option is also available for many to host the God Culture in a launch in Restore Philippines conference to kick this off. This will ignite your group and equip them to disciple using this monumental revelation. Just email us at thegodculture@gmail.com and go to ophirinstitute.com for instructions and all the links, including the free ebook. It's time for this revelation to go viral throughout the Philippines and the world. This spark is about to explode. Be sure to tell us about your experience. Yah bless.
I saw 3 ships come sailing in.
Did the ships coming sailing in bring gold, frankincense, and myrrh to our Savior? Indeed, they were not on camels, and they offered their gifts by the shipload. Deep in the Vatican archives, a treasure was recently discovered. A document purporting to be written by the Magi themselves has surfaced. These were holy, sagacious kings, yes, kings, who originated in the Far East beyond India from the land of the Garden of Eden, as David prophesied from Tarshish, Ophir, and Sheba. That was never Persia, Arabia, nor India. Wait till you find out the Apostle Thomas made it to these famed isles. Knowledge is increasing, unraveling the mystery of the three kings, the lost ancient nativity restored. Get your copy today, free in ebook or print worldwide on Amazon or Shopee Philippines. Go to ophirinstitute.com. Find the Garden of Eden and Land of Gold on your coffee mug? Oh yeah. Introducing Map Mugs by The God Culture, a collection of 12 containers featuring some of the most important maps ever created. You know, we did not want to slap our logo on merch and sell it. So, we figured out a way to give our viewers what they've been asking for. Gear that can be used for teaching. When you have friends over, watch them discover the garden and compare their different maps. This should spur a discussion often in which you can share what you have learned. Available in regular 11-ounce white, or get our color morphing mug. Just pour hot water and watch the garden and aisles of gold appear, dude! Collect all 12 and make this a ministry with coffee or tea. Just visit thegodculture.com and order yours today. In the beginning, a garden was planted, enclosed within the earth, in the east, the Orient, far east, says Enoch before the flood, and Noah, who lived there and mapped it in the Philippines. The Bible has always led there, and even Bible historians knew how to read the Hebrew, such as Josephus in 90 AD, Lactantius, an African, in 310, and in 550, Cosmas, the Greek monk and merchant traveler who went to the Indies, wrote in Alexandria, Egypt, Africa, Christian topography, and he mapped paradise as the Philippines. That map was even published in the Greek edition of the Bible at one time, a 6,000-year track record, forgotten today by illiterate scholars. They have no education on this topic. Let us explore this massive trove of ancient maps. Israel is not east, and a spring is a spring, not a river, and must be fed by a mega river as its source, and must connect to 3 other heads as well, all rivers, and actually salt water even. Can they read? Africa is not east, nor in Shem's far east, where the garden has always resided. Mesopotamia is the occult creation myth of the Nephilim. Nice, scholars. Modern rivers from rain did not even exist before the flood, and the Bible never uses the word Tigris ever in the original Hebrew. Why do modern scholars have no clue when the evidence is so vast? The Garden of Eden revealed, resolving the 6,000-year testimony, marking the Far East. Now available in print only, no ebook, on Amazon and Shopee Philippines. Over 75 high-resolution color historic maps with accurate interpretation no one can truly dispute. Get your book now, and a new series begins.